Okay, wait, everybody, wait. We've got bonus content. Don't hang up that. No, do not click the stop button. Don't even hit pause. All right, we've got bonus content here on A New Direction. We were just talking with Jeff Snell, and we were talking about getting started in business, whether it's getting started as an entrepreneur or starting a new business, buying into a new business. But you know what? We've been going through Hurricane Michael here. I said Matthew, apologize. But we're going through Hurricane Michael right now, and Michael has been interrupting our show at least a couple times. So Jeff Snell, COO and founder of Enlign Business Brokers and Advisors, had this great idea of saying, okay, what does a business owner do in a storm? And he came up with some really great ideas. So Jeff, talk to us and my listeners and our listeners about, okay, so we've got Hurricane Michael. What does a business do?
All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you guys hanging over for this bonus content. I hope it's going to be worth every second and more of your time. And right now, we're obviously talking about Hurricane Michael because it's on top of both of us. Jay's at the beach at his beach house, a beautiful place, but the weather's not great. He's lost power a couple times in this last podcast. I'm sitting in Raleigh. The wind is blowing. It's raining. I'm hoping, but not terribly concerned about trees falling in my house, but anything can happen. I work at home, and I wanted to talk to you guys about preparing your business for a storm. And I'm not selling insurance. I'm not gonna mention a property and casual guy. That's not what this is about. This is about protecting your business when the weather decides it's going to rear its head and potentially have an impact on your future success, which none of us want to have weather have an adverse effect on our business. So there's the obvious. We've got physical security. If you're a retailer and you're in the face of a storm, you're probably buying plyboard and boarding that up, okay? That's common sense. I'm not here to tell you that. You know how to do that. Now, if you have the capital and your business requires it, let's say you're a technology company, you better have a generator in the parking lot. It better have auto switches, meaning that when it senses the power goes off, it turns itself on. You want everything to be automated. Those are long-term or longer-term planning things. But let's talk about right now. The storm, it's not on top of me right now. It's still coming this way. It's going to get worse before it gets better. What can I do? What can you do? And this might be Hurricane Michael if you're in the Southeast today. If you're listening to this podcast in a year, it might be a tornado in the Midwest. It might be a tsunami in California. It does not matter. It's weather. It's out of our control. But what is in our control is protecting our businesses. And the scariest statistic I've ever seen, I'm a skeptic when it comes to statistics. I've told people numbers can prove anything you want them to, so I don't quote specific numbers. But in the high 90 percentile, businesses that have lost their data are not in business after 24 months. If you lose your QuickBooks file, in 24 months, statistically, you're out of business. I don't care if you're the largest company in North Carolina or the smallest one. The odds say if you lose your data, you're done. And that's sad because it's so easy to fix. So number one on my digital checklist, data backups. Now, obviously, local backups are better than no backups. But if you're flooded, your local backup is gone too, because that hard drive, once it gets wet, it might be recoverable, but it's not reliable. You don't want to bet your business on that. Let's get an off-site cloud storage backup solution. Now, I'm not going to plug any of them. I use one. It's a big name. You can Google it. You'll find dozens of them. But the point is, subscribe to a service. It's probably going to cost you $79 to $119 a year, depending upon what service you get and which vendor you select. But back up everything business related. If you've got servers, you want to have a server contract. I'm a smaller business. Everything that's important to me is on one PC, but I've got it backing up. It backs up in real time so that I can lose that computer. I can lose it to a lightning strike. I can lose it to a flood. I can lose it to theft. It doesn't matter, because once I replace that hardware, I can download it from the cloud from my service provider, and I'm back in business, and I'm not part of that 90+% that's not likely to be in business in 2 years. So that's the number one tip and trick when it comes to saving your business, when it comes to natural disasters or impending bad weather. The second is make sure you have redundant internet access. So much of our businesses now have been pushed to the cloud, and we've got our accounting on the cloud. We've got our marketing. Facebook social media is obviously cloud-based, but if we can't access it, it's no longer part of our business. So make sure that you have redundant access. Now, it's not practical for most of us to have physical redundant lines coming to our business. So that would be, for example, AT&T fiber and Google fiber. You could have both. There's even very intelligent, fancy switches that will auto switch and load balance between them. But for most of us, that's not cost effective. So make sure that you know how to tether your cell phone to your computer. Sounds very simple, and it is very simple. Most plans allow it, but you need to know how to do it. On my phone, I actually require a USB connection because the Bluetooth doesn't happen to work. Well, I know that, and I know that before the storm. I know how to get redundant internet access if I need to, tethering my cell phone to my computer. But if you've not tried it and you've not tested it, you probably should. So what are we thinking about on a more global level when it comes to employees? Well, do we want our employees driving around when the wind's blowing and trees are falling and branches are falling out of the sky? No, we really don't. It's not good for their safety. It's not good for our image. It's not pro-employee. So this. All right. So ironically, while we're talking about storms and preparation, planning, we lost our connection. Jay and I at his beach house, and me in Raleigh with the storm. Electricity is an issue. So nothing better than nature to point out the very issues that we're talking about. So we were last talking about, my words, allowing employees to work from home. But in fact, allowing, I don't like that word. We're having them work from home, and we're testing how that works from a technology perspective, an effectiveness and efficiency perspective. I think in most cases it's a positive thing. I'm not saying shut down your corporate locations and your retail locations, but I think it's great for everybody to have a plan B in the event of inclement weather or anything else that you can communicate and conduct business when you're not physically together as you usually are in your office. So while we're talking about offices, whether you are in your office or at home, we haven't talked about this in probably decades because it's technically old technology, and that's uninterruptible power supplies. I owned a technology services company for 7 years. It was my first business sale, which led me to become the business broker that I am today. And I could not be more familiar with all the brands, phase technology, backups, the surge protectors. Believe me, from a technical perspective, I know all of that. But embarrassingly, about 6 months ago, I was
All right, we're still. We lost.
best power supply.
We just lost Jeff for a second, but he's back now. So, sorry, Jeff, we lost you for about 30 seconds there.
All right. Well, so let's rewind the tape going back to UPS systems. I was just saying that, in a prior life, I owned a technology company. If I know anything, it's uninterruptible power supplies, phase inverters, load balancers, surge protection. I get all that. But embarrassingly, 6 months ago, I was talking to my second largest client. We're editing a spreadsheet. We're actually doing a business valuation recast. And the power went out at my house. The weather wasn't even bad. It was, sometimes somebody hits a pole on the street at the top of the road and you lose power. Well, that's what happened. And I lost all my data. The changes that I had made during that call was very frustrating. So it reminded me, you know what? Your APC surge protector died, 3, 4, or 5 years ago. Didn't bother to replace it. Well, you need to have a UPS on your computer at work and at home. So we're talking about how to prepare your business for a storm. Having uninterruptible power supplies, it's not only good for a storm, it's good all the time. So let's get away from the blocking and tackling of how to defend ourselves against bad weather. And I'm wrapping up bonus content. Let's talk briefly about how do you turn a storm situation into a marketing opportunity? Well, you guys probably know Jay is an incredibly successful speaker, author, incredible person. He's an advisor. He doesn't claim to be, but He gives great business advice as well. But he's also married to an incredible woman who's an incredible business person, Linda Kraft. She owns arguably the best residential brokerage in Wake County. She also has a craft commercial division, which is very successful and growing. She is also a marketing genius, hand in hand with Jay being a marketing genius. But together, I think they'll appreciate this last segment of my bonus content, which is marketing. And you're asking, what are you talking about marketing? This is Hurricane Michael. Cars are being flooded, homes are being flooded. Potentially, and unfortunately, I've heard a couple lives have already been lost, and potentially more. I'm not looking at riding on the backs of devastation and negativity. That would not be what any of us are about. But legitimately, when we have a storm, what can we do to market our businesses that's not offensive and not inappropriate? Well, I would tell you that you should take the opportunity on social media to post whether you're open or not. Let your employees, your customers know that you'll be available or not, or how you will be available alternatively if you're not in your places of normal business. Let them know how to contact you. Let them know that through this storm, you were available. Now, what else can you do? You can leverage media outlets that otherwise most small businesses cannot, will not, or couldn't afford. So how do you do that? Well, radio stations and TV stations are all about protecting their communities. They want to provide announcements about what's going on in the area as it relates to the storm and the businesses. Go ahead and submit to your radio stations and your local television stations your operating hours and your disaster plans. Let your employees and your customers know this is how we're reacting to this weather situation or this natural disaster. And at the very least, they see your name, they see your logo, and they see that you care. So wrapping up all of these three talking points of physical safety, we want to board up our physical offices, our retail locations, assuming that we have the time to do so safely. Long-term planning, we want to have power redundancy. We want to have generators that will be auto switching so that when we do lose power, we have power back and we can continue operations. Digitally, we want to make sure that all of our mission critical data, certainly our accounting data, but our client data, contracts, everything that's on our servers and on our main PCs is being backed up remotely, meaning not at our physical locations, not your place of business, not your home, but the cloud. We want to go to a third-party resource where everything is, in a data center that has terabytes and terabytes of data that they're then backing up again, so that we're not falling victim to the statistic of 24 months after a data loss, we're not in business anymore. We want to have redundant internet access at a very high sophisticated level. That means hard lines with switches that are load balancing and auto switching. But at a very basic level, we want to tether our cell phones. It's not high tech, but you got to test it. The first time I did it, it didn't work. Probably the first couple times I tested it didn't work, but now I know that it works, and it provides a level of comfort that's important in protecting our business and making sure that we can serve our clients and be in contact with our employees. So let our employees in bad weather work from home. Let's give them the tools that they need to be effective. Let's have UPS, uninterruptible power supplies on our computers, simply so that in any event, whether it's a major weather event where somebody hits a telephone pole on the corner, we're not going to lose our data. We're also not going to have a hard restart that could corrupt our operating system and whatnot. And then finally, as we said on marketing, let's take advantage, not unfair advantage, but let's take advantage of the marketing opportunity to announce in social media, radio, and television what our intentions are on how we're going to work to support our clients and communicate with our employees during inclement weather.
Wow. Folks, first time ever on A New Direction, we unleashed bonus content. That's right, we unleashed bonus content, and how fitting it was during Hurricane Michael and having Jeff Snell, COO, founder of Enlign Business Brokers. Just check out www.enlign.com. That's enlign.com. Check him out. He was so gracious to call me back, said, I got some additional content, and he gave it to us right there. Jeff, awesome. I mean, I love every one of those points. we've gone through all this stuff. I don't have a generator here. I probably need to come up with a backup plan for that here for sure, if I'm going to continue to do my radio show in the middle of a hurricane. So I need to do that for sure. That's cool. That was really great stuff. Folks, remember, reach out to Jeff. If you want to learn anything about this, about buying, selling a business, you want to go with Enlign Business Advisors. And again, it's www.enlign.com, ENLIGN.com. Check them out. They have a great website. It's easy to access, easy to get around. Jeff is available to be contacted. His cell phone's right there, but you can contact him by email as well. Check him out. He's all over social media. Enlign has a Facebook page. They're part of LinkedIn. They're also part of Twitter. So check them out. I'm telling you, you really want to get as much information as you can, and I'm telling you, he's the person that can do it. Jeff, thanks again for this bonus content. This is outstanding. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Jay. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me access to all your listeners. I hope that they found value in the discussion about business acquisition and startups, as well as this little bonus content about how to make sure we're prepared when the unexpected happens. So thank you very much. Enjoyed the opportunity and of course, as always, our friendship. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thanks. This was a lot of fun. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And so, all right, everybody, that was the show. Wow, bonus content show. All right, check us out next week. All right, everyone. All right, I'll look forward to seeing you then. Your dreams will take you places you have never been before. Find your passion, find your strength. Don't worry anymore. A new direction. A new direction. Oh, a new direction, a brand new day. A new direction, things are gonna change. You can find